Are you rethinking your purpose in life? Being centered in a strong spiritual connection is more important now than ever. Hi, I'm Bryn, Blankinship, hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. Each episode, I'll share my experiences with guiding spiritual regression clients into the afterlife and the soul lessons gained, prompting you to explore your own soul's journey and empowering you by shifting your perception of yourself and your place in this world. I want you to know that you're here by design, not by accident. You are not alone. You are loved. You are here on purpose, for a purpose. When you stand in your truth and fulfill your purpose, you support others in fulfilling theirs. If this intrigues you, stay tuned in as we explore. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for the Afterlife Teacher. We have another great topic. This is something that I get asked a lot on interviews, different podcasts about what goes on beyond the veil, right? That soul expansion, the soul's adventures in the higher realms. I mean, that's what every day at the office is like for me, right? My clients go into that space, they explore more deeply, and I've been in that space and it is fascinating. So I love talking about this. We're talking about beyond the physical world. We're talking about moving into this luminous space, this dimension. It's more than consciousness. It is a dimension that souls reside in. And in this space, they encounter new energies, they absorb wisdom, they prepare for their next incarnation, they review the incarnation they just had. And we're going to talk a little bit first about the higher realms and what that is, right? It's that space of light and consciousness that souls reside and journey to between lifetimes, between incarnations. And in that space of radiance and peacefulness, there's just an unconditional love. There is a freedom from earthly limitations. So just going into that space, there's a sense of freedom that the client experiences. And it also allows healing to take place. It fosters growth, healing, expansion, just by having this awareness. But there's specific things that happen in session with guides for the clients. And, these are fields of light. You might visit halls of wisdom, celestial libraries. You might go off planet to another planet that is not Earth. You might go to a galaxy that is another part of this galaxy or a different galaxy. That's what we mean by the higher realms. And this is what happens in client sessions that bring about shifts in perspective. Because when you can see the larger perspective, it shifts everything. It helps you have a deeper understanding of yourself, your place in this world. And so in these higher realms, souls are experiencing profound expansion. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as they're perceiving themselves, not individually, but more as part of a tapestry, as part of the bigger picture of things, the bigger tapestry. Rather than being one tiny thread, they can see their connection to all that is in those spaces. But in those spaces, there's still individuality as a soul. And this is where souls are able to explore new energies. They meet with enlightened beings. They might even revisit memories of past lives or, sometimes it's future lives. That's what I'm looking for. Future encounters, future lives that they may live. And these are, all things that are normal in the session work that I do. It could be one of these things. It could be many of these things that a client might experience. It just depends on what they need for the time that they're coming in for the session. And we connect to these places often on our own anyway. But during a session, we can be guided more specifically towards a goal to find and uncover insights that would provide understanding for that client at this time in this moment in their life, right? Whatever they need right now is what they're going to get. They might need to know about all of these things, or they might need to know one or two of these things. So, souls in the higher realms are experiencing that expanded awareness that gives them an understanding of their connection and puts them in touch with other beings. And this could be their guides, it could be master teachers, it could be angels, it could be loved ones who have crossed over. You know, these are some of the beings that may show up, and they have knowledge. They can help the client uncover some of the mysteries about their lives. They can help them with some of the burning questions that they've had in their life. And what that does is bring a sense of peace. This space is a peaceful space, but they bring back some of that peace with them with the new understanding that they've gained. So, other times they're releasing. So sometimes they're bringing back, sometimes they're releasing unresolved emotions, dissolving karmic patterns. Um, there's some spiritual practices that take place in the higher realms that they often are taken through. I've had clients that have gone to spaces. They were greeted by soul groups or taken to a soul group, and then their soul group did some type of ritual with them to help them shake off limitations. I remember one that kind of gathered around the client and I don't know exactly, but I think it was like a blanket, like this giant blanket in the spirit realm. And it was a special blanket that all the soul group members took hold of, with the client, that member of the soul group, in the middle of the blanket, and started shaking out the blanket to shake out and release all the limitations, all the limiting beliefs that my client was holding. And so, what that was doing was shifting the client's energy and shaking it out of their aura and out of their energy field. So, it can take on many different forms. The way these rituals can take place. There have been times where they have come in very seriously as a soul group and come up to the client and led them through something that was like a death of the old energy, the old persona, and took them through this ritual in the spirit realm very seriously, and then told the client to lighten up. And then there was laughter and there was joy, and all of those things shifted and released from the client's energy field. So that's what we're talking about. These shifts can be quantum, they can be huge. And let's talk about this for a moment. Well, also, these are emotional. So as you're shifting the auric field, you're shifting the emotions along with the patterns. So if it's a fearful or a limiting emotion or a limiting belief, you're shifting that pattern within the client, in the soul, at the soul level. The and then shifting that for the client here in the human level. So let's talk about the soul. The soul is magnificent. It is huge. It is humongous. It is like the most brilliant, bright, expanded light. And clients always talk about how they have to squeeze all that soul light, their light body, into that tiny little body. And they have to tuck and push and squeeze it in there to make it fit. So you're taking all of this and squeezing it into that little embryo, joining with the body, and then growing with it, and having space to expand. But they're in partnership with the body. The soul is in partnership with the body The soul is in partnership with the brain, and it's in connection with the highest self that's back in the higher realms, beyond the veil, beyond time, right? If you think of time as a band around the earth, then we're going to that expanded space beyond the limitation of time. But we need time as a measurement. We need time to measure growth. We need to measure against something. So time is a measurement, as is explained to me through clients. So once the soul has squoze into that little embryo, into that tiny little body, and kind of made themselves comfortable, and the soul describes making the adjustments, getting in there, adjusting all the dials and switches, getting everything lined up, then it acts like a battery pack. The soul is what is bringing the body alive, and that, it joins with the humanness to activate it. And all of this is happening simultaneously. And then during the incarnation, we're staying connected to our soul. We're always connected to our soul. So there's the bigger piece, and then there's the smaller piece of the bigger piece, which is still really big, that squeezes into these bodies. And then we stay connected throughout our lives. So you're connected right now, right? You just are. And then often during our dreams, we may go back at night and visit with our guides in a way that we can communicate more clearly, get some understanding, just like we do in session work, right? Where we're just getting deeper wisdom related to questions that we have. We have questions that come up, but we have the ability to have help and get some of those questions answered. So the soul is magnificent, and the colors are luminescent. They are colors that we can't even describe in earthly terms, even though we try to, and they are just brilliant. And then in session, the soul is stepping outside of its human self to reconnect to the higher self, the highest self. Okay? So the soul steps into human self to experience, to learn, to grow, to support the earth. Souls come in to support Earth with the shifts because that energy shifts the consciousness of the planet from the consciousness of the beings on the planet to the actual consciousness of the planet itself through our incarnations. So we are connected to the earth. A lot of the work that I do is helping souls connect and ground to Gaia and also to their soul state, because we are that connection between heaven and earth. We are the link. And that energy runs through us, and we connect to the earth, energy, to nature. But I'm talking deeper than nature. I'm talking to about the core of Mother Earth. Humans are the link. And this is coming through client sessions. Everything I'm sharing with you right now is coming through 20 years, 20 plus years of client sessions, and clients reporting back to me these things. And those telepathic communications occur when the client is in deep trance. And, there's soul power versus brain power. And we're speaking of the soul power that has the ability to problem solve beyond mental brain power. So we're bringing that information that's helping us problem solve. We're bringing that information from those places that goes beyond this human brain, which is lucky for us that we are in contact with that and in contact with our guides for things that we're working on during our incarnations. And, we also have our loved ones that may be in touch with us. We may have soulmates, we have our soul group members, even pets. Sometimes I forget to mention the pets because we have those special pets that will join us in session and that will join us during these times. So in the higher realms, just experiencing the higher realm is reminding us of our natural state, which is that expanded state. So just feeling that in your body helps you to open up to truth, to awareness, to connection. Instead of being closed off, we can open ourselves up and stand in our truth and stand in our power, being connected to our soul. It's not like force. It's not like power like by force. It's power by being and knowing who we truly are as a soul and being in touch with those higher realms while we're walking around on this planet and experiencing our life for this incarnation. And with understanding and awareness that's helping guide us through these steps. So, perceiving ourselves as part of the bigger tapestry is one piece of that, but there are times where we're merging with light. There are times where we're meeting those enlightened teachers, master teachers, enlightened beings, wise ones, soul advisory council, the high council, even higher up, galactic councils, guiding clients into those spaces to connect with those higher beings that are here to support them now. And then taking clients to celestial libraries or a place of the Akashic records. So these are places that clients can like pull off the volume that represents them, go to the part of the library that has the books of their lives, their life as a soul, their lives on other planets, all of their incarnations, whether Earth or elsewhere, and explore that. And then we're expanding our ability to be able to go into these libraries and look at some of the record keeping and the record books for other beings as well. Only in some cases are we able to do that if it's going to help this client at this time in their incarnation. So if your client is a mathematician or a scientist, they may have the ability to go into the Akashic records to explore deeper into the lifetime of a scientist, like a well-known scientist that could help them with what they're working on now. Or like a hypnotherapist like me. I can go in and speak to some of the greats in a way that's going to support me and my work and help me. Because some of those beings do connect with me and talk with me, but I can do this in a deeper way, in a more expanded way that's going to give me insight and guidance with what I'm working on now. And, honoring them by the work they started or the work that they did that I'm continuing along my path, along with my own past lives that have led me here. So, it's fascinating work. And these other planets that we're talking about may have tele- telecom- telepathic communications, but different bodies than our human bodies. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're different, sometimes they're formless. Sometimes these bodies do not have a shape the way that we do, but they're able to explore, souls can explore energy this way. The soul is able to take on the shape of the vessel that it inhabits in these different incarnations, but it can also just go or just be in these places of sight, light, sound, and immerse themselves in it. It's so beautiful. I've experienced this in session myself, and clients have too. And so when that's happening, I give them space to explore that and really feel the energy, feel the connection to the vibration that's coming through that is there for them at this time for a reason, for whatever they're working with at the time they come in for the session. And so when we're talking about these energies, it is shifting. So sometimes we're healing from past lives, and sometimes we're we're healing limiting beliefs, or we're clearing some physical. So there's auric healing that takes place, and there's psychic surgery that takes place in my sessions. Soul expression, spiritual regression, Cessor. We're working in that psychic space, in that higher level, to heal dense wounds to the aura, to heal limiting beliefs, to shift those old patterns by gaining insight, to find and follow the soul's purpose. But we're talking about deep and profound shifts, deep, that the client comes back free of whatever was troubling them when they came in. Being reminded of the enlightened soul that they are, being reminded of why they were born onto this planet, into this family, at this time in history. All of those things are restoring the client back to a higher vibrational self that is going to support them as they emerge from the session. And we're also strengthening the partnership to the soul, that partnership to co-create with your soul. Your soul is part of you, but you can line things up and save some steps by being more aware and more in tune and more in touch with the soul. And strengthening connection to guides. You may have a new guide coming in. And so often clients are guided to work with me because there's like a changing of the guides, and they may have a ceremony that takes place. And the new guide comes in like with my students. My students go through shifts with the varying stages of the training they go through with me. And new guides come in that are going to support their hypnosis journey as a hypnotherapist, their past life journey as a past life regressionist, and these advanced levels that clients go through. And so that may take place in a session, introducing the new guide that's more of a specialty guide that helps them with the various things that they're working on. And, during the time in these light realms, just experiencing is realigning their nervous system to bring peace. It's bringing in more peaceful energy back into the body to help that client who has been through some tough times. And we know it's been challenging, but you can shift that and like pick yourself back up energetically, stand up tall and proud that you made it through that challenging time. And you're here and you're wiser and stronger because of it. You learned a few things that you don't want to go through that again, but you learned a few things along the way. And then also, we pick up new things that are going to support us in the next stage of the journey. So these are things that happen with the auric healing and working with the guides and, even the soul advisory council that comes in and integrating. So there's an integration process. I know they're trying to hurry me up here. There's an integration process that takes place on the end of this. And as the client is coming back through the veil, back into the body, they're stronger. Their soul power is stronger. It's like charging up your battery pack. All the experiences that you've been through that have been draining that battery pack. And we take it into the soul level. We charge up that battery pack and help the client to come back in amplified, stronger, better, kind of filling out the aura better in this physical body. And it's amazing the transformation that takes place because I see this happening in front of my eyes with my clients. And by the way, whether it's online or in person, it's just as strong. I have the connection with my clients. I teach my students to have the connection with my clients that goes beyond the internet, that goes beyond this room, whether they're sitting 3 feet away or they're sitting in another country. We have that connection. And we have that connection with their guides, with their soul that's there with us as well. And we're opening those connections to strengthen that soul power in the physical body for that client. And this is all taking place beyond the veil, and then we bring it back in. And what we're doing through all of these experiences and all of these soul journeys is really shifting the awareness on the planet. It's shifting human consciousness, shifting the energy of the planet, and it's shifting you. But it's happening one client at a time by being in this luminous energy, in these luminous realms of light. And it's fabulous. It is just magnificent. That's the best word I can use to describe it. And I love being part of this process for my clients. I love teaching my students how to do this work and watching them light up. The first time they guide someone into that space, and then they get better at it and they do it more. And then they realize that each experience is unique with each of their clients, but it shifts something in them. And so me being in that space with my clients over the years has shifted things in me through these journeys beyond the veil, with my clients, with myself being in the client chair, and my own work that I do to keep that connection open and strong. And what this is doing is helping to connect the client to their place in the broader scheme of things, and to understand their role in that. Because all souls are part of the shift. All souls are needed at this time in history to be part of that. So as we wind up here, I just want to say it's not about being perfect. It's about being present, being connected, to find and follow your soul's connection, your soul's purpose. You were listening to Bryn Blankinship, the Afterlife Teacher. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, and I think I'm on Threads now too. So thank you so much. And until next time, see you later. You've been listening to Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons bringing you full circle with Bryn Blankinship. Tune into Transformation Talk Radio for more discussions of the soul's journey across different lifetimes and soul lessons gained, helping you to consider the deeper reason you are here. Bryn shares her wisdom spanning 20 years of guiding spiritual regression clients into the afterlife and connecting them with their spiritual team and soul's purpose to bring them full circle, helping you gain insight into your own soul's purpose while supporting others in fulfilling theirs. Living in partnership with your soul, with less worry and greater trust, you can be in divine flow and thrive. For more information on becoming a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist and assisting with the global transformation taking place, visit brynblankinship.com.